Welcome in, everybody, to a deep dive. Today we're looking into the life and times of Napoleon Hill, the guy behind the self-help mega hit, Think and Grow Rich. He's a huge name in the world of, personal development and all that. But, and here's the thing, his life story is a lot more complicated than a simple, rags to riches kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes way beyond, the typical success story you see on the surface. There are some pretty surprising facts about Hill's journey, when you really start digging.
And we're going to dig, believe me. We'll unpack some of the, well, let's just say some of the more captivating stories about him. Like, there's this one about how he supposedly helped his son overcome deafness using just willpower. And the truth about his connection to Andrew Carnegie, that's a wild one.
Right. It's interesting how those stories, whether they're completely true or not, became such a big part of his reputation and how they influenced his thinking.
Okay, so let's rewind all the way back to the beginning. Hill's early life, marked by ambition, obviously, but also, well, some pretty interesting business ventures, to say the least.
For sure. I mean, picture this. Born in a one-room cabin in the mountains of Virginia,
Right.
and his stepmother, she sees something in him, this potential, and really pushes him towards journalism. She was like, this kid needs to write, needs to communicate. It's almost like she knew, right?
She did. She really did. But here's the thing. Hill's path to success, anything but a straight line. He had like a whole string of early business attempts. A lumber company, then there's this a car college thing, and even, get this, an advertising institute. And let's just say, he had a knack for attracting controversy.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, these ventures ended up with accusations of fraud, legal problems, the whole nine yards, almost like he was, I don't know, testing the limits of success, figuring things out through both the wins and the, let's say, the not-so-wins.
You think those early experiences, those ups and downs,
Yeah.
maybe that's what fueled his obsession with finding these principles for success later on.
It's a good possibility, almost like he was internalizing all these lessons, figuring out what not to do, and then building on that to create his, teachings on what to do.
Okay, now, you can't talk about Napoleon Hill without bringing up this one crucial moment. That alleged meeting with Andrew Carnegie back in 1908.
Right. So according to Hill, Carnegie, the steel tycoon, he basically challenges Hill to a quest, spend 20 years studying successful people and then come back and create a, quote, philosophy of success that anyone could use.
And the way Hill tells it, it's straight out of a movie. He says Carnegie gave him a whole 60 seconds to accept this challenge, timed it with a stopwatch, super intense, and Hill supposedly says yes in a record 29 seconds.
But, and here's the kicker, there's absolutely zero proof, independent proof, that this meeting even took place. No documents, no other people who were there, nothing.
Wait, so this meeting, the thing that supposedly started Hill on this whole path, can be completely made up?
That's a real possibility. And it definitely raises some big questions about what Hill's motives were and how much of his story is actually, true.
Whoa, it's like a plot twist, right? Makes you wonder if Hill was deliberately crafting a more exciting story, like an origin story for his whole self-help empire.
Yeah, definitely adds a layer of mystery to his whole deal. And it makes you look at his later writings a little differently, with a more critical eye,
For sure. So Carnegie meeting or not, Hill did eventually start writing his first major work, The Law of Success, that came out in 1928. And get this, it actually did pretty well.
It was a hit. For a while, he even had all the wealth he was, advocating for. Then, bam, the Great Depression hits and his fortune vanishes.
Oh man, talk about a roller coaster.
Yeah.
But maybe this is where his own principles came in handy, right? He didn't give up.
Exactly. He took that setback and used it as fuel. And in 1937, he drops the book that would completely change the game for self-help. Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
That book became a phenomenon. Millions of copies sold. And it really put ideas like positive thinking and visualization on the map.
It's amazing how many self-help concepts that we see today, they can be traced right back to Hill's work.
Hill was a master storyteller, knew how to keep people hooked. He even claimed there was a secret to success hidden somewhere in Think and Grow Rich, like a challenge for readers to find it.
Brilliant marketing, really. Added to the whole mystique of the book, made people feel like they were unlocking something special, some hidden code.
Whether there was an actual secret or not, Think and Grow Rich laid out a whole framework for success, all built around Hill's 17 principles of personal achievement. Those principles, they're at the heart of his philosophy, and that's exactly what we're going to explore next.
Those 17 principles, they cover everything from setting clear goals and having a positive mindset to building powerful relationships and tapping into the power of, creative vision. Lots to unpack there. Okay, so those 17 principles. Let's start with definiteness of purpose. It sounds simple enough, but he really believed this was like the bedrock of success, the starting point.
So it's not just about saying, I want to be rich, right?
Yeah.
Got to be more specific than that.
Exactly. You got to have this crystal clear vision of what you actually want, your chief aim. That's what he called it. And this burning desire to achieve it. It's like knowing exactly where you're going and letting that goal pull you forward.
I see. Yeah. Makes sense. But what about like needing help along the way? I know Hill talks a lot about working with others, collaborating.
He does, and that's where this mastermind alliance principle comes in. The idea is you surround yourself with a group of people who are on the same wavelength, people who share your vision and can give you a boost on your journey.
Okay, so it's like having your own personal dream team, a board of advisors, people who can like offer support, challenge you to grow, keep you accountable.
Precisely. Hill was convinced that, when you get a group of people like that together, a mastermind group, the energy, the ideas, it amplifies everyone's abilities and like speeds up progress. I mean,
Oh.
think about the successful people out there today, entrepreneurs, leaders. They rarely, if ever, do it alone. They've got mentors, partners, whole teams backing them up.
That's a good point. But even with a clear goal and, the right people around you, there are going to be bumps in the road. Hill talks about applied faith too, right?
Yeah, applied faith. That's about having this unwavering belief in yourself, believing that you can reach your goals no matter what, and holding on to that belief even when things get rough, when those doubts start creeping in, even when people tell you it's impossible.
So it's about building that inner resilience, that unshakable confidence that, hey, I can handle whatever comes my way.
Exactly. It's about trusting the process, knowing that, setbacks are temporary, and if you keep at it, you'll get there.
That kind of mindset, that's huge for anyone facing challenges. It's about seeing those setbacks, not as like the end of the world, but as opportunities to learn and grow.
For sure. And that kind of leads us to another key principle, going the extra mile. Hill was a big believer in like consistently doing more than what's expected. He thought that was crucial for, standing out and achieving bigger and better things.
So it's not just about working hard, it's about going above and beyond, showing a level of commitment that really impresses people.
Exactly. It's that extra effort. That's what can make a real difference in your career, your relationships, everything.
I like that. Okay, so Hill also talks about pleasing personality. Is that just like being nice all the time?
It's more than just being nice. It's about cultivating genuine warmth, respect for others, and, a kind of optimistic outlook. Hill believed that doing that could really open doors and help you build stronger connections with people.
Oh, okay. So it's not about putting on a fake smile, but more about developing this genuine charisma and a positive attitude that draws people in.
Exactly. Think about the people you actually enjoy working with or being around, the ones you connect with. They probably have those qualities, right?
Good point. Yeah. So Hill was also a big fan of personal initiative, right?
Huge fan. He was all about taking charge, being proactive, seizing those opportunities when they come up, no hesitation. Hill believed that successful people don't just sit around waiting for things to happen. They make things happen.
That's the entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah.
That drive to take action and make your vision a reality.
Exactly. And it's not just about starting businesses. It's a skill you can use anywhere in life, whether you're, I don't know, picking up a new hobby, trying to learn a new language, or just, taking control of your personal growth. It all applies.
Makes sense. Okay, now, probably one of Hill's most famous principles is this whole positive mental attitude thing. I feel like that's almost become a cliche at this point.
It kind of has, yeah. But even though it might sound a bit overused, Hill, he genuinely believed in the power of choosing to focus on the positive, even when you're dealing with tough stuff.
So it's not about pretending everything's perfect or ignoring the bad things. It's about approaching problems with this, like optimistic outlook, believing that things will work out.
Exactly. It's about building that resilience, seeing those setbacks as temporary, and holding on to that belief that you can overcome them.
That kind of mindset, it
Yeah.
can be super powerful in helping you get where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's about focusing on solutions, not dwelling on the problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a tool you can use in any situation, whether you're dealing with something personal, a roadblock at work, or just the everyday ups and downs, it applies to everything.
Okay, Hill also talks about enthusiasm, and it seems like that's kind of connected to positive mental attitude.
For sure, for sure. He saw enthusiasm as like faith in action. It's that outward expression of your passion, believing in your purpose. It's about bringing energy and excitement to everything you do.
So it's about being genuinely passionate about what you're doing, letting that passion show in your actions and how you interact with people.
Exactly. And enthusiasm, it's contagious, right? It can inspire you and it can inspire the people around you.
I can see that. But let's be real, sometimes keeping that positive attitude, that enthusiasm going, it takes a lot of discipline, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And that's where self-discipline comes in. Hill knew that it was the key to, unlocking your potential and staying on track towards your goals. It's about mastering your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and making them all work together, aligning them with your purpose.
So it's about building that inner strength
Yeah.
to resist distractions, stay focused, make choices that actually support your long-term vision.
You got it. Self-discipline, it's crucial for achieving anything big, anything meaningful, whether it's starting a business, writing that book you've always wanted to write, or just building healthier habits.
Like working a muscle, right?
Yeah,
The more you practice self-discipline, the stronger it gets.
exactly. And that strength, it helps you beat procrastination, resist those temptations, and stay committed to your goals, even when things get tough.
Okay, I see. Hill also emphasizes accurate thinking. What exactly does he mean by that?
Accurate thinking, it's about developing that critical mind, one that can tell the difference between facts and opinions, pick out the important information, make good judgments based on logic and reason.
So it's about being careful, not just believing everything you hear or read, but taking a step back, evaluating information, and coming to your own conclusions.
Precisely. Especially these days with so much information flying around, so much fake news, accurate thinking, it's more important than ever. It's about cultivating a healthy skepticism, finding reliable sources and actually thinking critically about what you're taking in.
Yeah, that's a crucial skill, especially in today's world.
It is. It's about taking responsibility for how you understand the world, not just blindly accepting everything you see.
And with all that information overload, Hill's principle of controlled attention, that seems more relevant than ever, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Hill was a huge advocate for focus. He taught that being able to zero in on a single task, to really concentrate your mental energy, that was essential for, achieving mastery and avoiding all those distractions.
So it's about developing that laser focus,
Yeah.
blocking out everything else, giving your full attention to whatever you're working on.
Exactly. In a world full of notifications and multitasking, being able to control your attention, that's a superpower.
It's about reclaiming your focus and directing it towards what truly matters.
You got it. And that kind of ties into another principle, teamwork. Hill recognized that we can't accomplish big things alone. It's about working with others, using everyone's strengths, different perspectives, and pulling together towards a common goal.
So it's about building those strong relationships, encouraging cooperation, realizing that, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Right. Doesn't matter if you're running a business, working on a creative project, or just navigating family life, teamwork. It's key for success.
Okay, so we all know setbacks are going to happen on the road to success. How does Hill address that?
Well, he has a principle for that too. Adversity and defeat. Hill had this interesting way of looking at failure. He believed that setbacks weren't just inevitable, they were actually valuable. They were opportunities to learn.
Oh, so it's about reframing failure, seeing it not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone to success, a chance to adapt and grow.
Exactly. He believed that every challenge has within it the seeds of an equal or even greater opportunity. It's about choosing to see those setbacks not as defeats, but as feedback, like, hey, maybe try a different approach. Think about any successful person you admire. Chances are they've had their fair share of setbacks, maybe even some big failures, but they learn from those experiences and use them to fuel their future success.
That's a powerful way to look at failure. It's about resilience.
It is, and it's a good reminder that resilience is key for achieving anything worthwhile.
So how does Hill encourage us to go beyond just overcoming those setbacks and actually reach new levels of success?
He does that through the principle of creative vision. Hill believed that our imagination was a powerful tool, It could help us come up with innovative solutions, see possibilities that others might miss.
So it's about tapping into that, like, childlike sense of wonder, seeing the world in new ways, coming up with original ideas.
Right. It's about embracing the unknown, dreaming big, not being afraid to experiment, try new things.
So it's about nurturing our creativity and using it to, fuel innovation and find new ways to solve problems.
Precisely. And that applies to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're an artist, an entrepreneur, or just someone who wants to bring more creativity into their everyday life.
Okay, so Hill also includes maintenance of sound health, as one of his principles. Sounds like he understood that connection between physical and mental well-being and success, right?
He did. He recognized that our physical and mental health, they're the foundation for achieving success in any area of life. He thought that by taking care of our health, we'd have more energy, better focus, and just perform better overall.
So it's about making healthy choices, taking care of our bodies and minds, making sure we have the energy and resilience to go after our goals.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that your physical and mental health, they're assets. You got to protect and nurture them.
Like making sure the foundation of your house is strong.
Yeah.
Can't build anything amazing on a shaky foundation.
Right. It's a holistic approach to success, understanding that all aspects of our lives, they're all connected.
Which leads us to, I believe, budgeting time and money.
Yes, Hill was a big advocate for being responsible with your finances and managing your time well. He believed that successful people, they treat both time and money as valuable resources, and they're careful about how they allocate them to reach their goals.
So it's about being mindful of how we spend our time and money, making sure our choices actually align with what's important to us and what we want to achieve.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your resources, making conscious choices about how you use them. It's not about depriving yourself, it's about empowering yourself.
Makes sense. It's about making sure your actions are aligned with your values and goals.
Precisely. And that brings us to the final principle, one that Hill considered to be incredibly powerful: habits, or what he called cosmic habit force.
Cosmic habit force.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What exactly did he mean by that?
Well, Hill believed that our habits were the building blocks of our lives, They shape our character, and ultimately, they determine our destiny.
So it's about recognizing the power of those daily routines, those small, consistent actions that, when you repeat them over time, can lead to really amazing results.
Exactly. It's about becoming like the architects of our own lives, designing those habits that support our goals and basically automating our success.
I see. So it's about being intentional with the habits we build, understanding that they can either push us towards our goals or hold us back.
Precisely. It's about taking ownership of our daily actions and understanding that even small changes, if you do them consistently, they can create this ripple effect that can transform your entire life.
Okay, so we've gone through these 17 principles, and they really paint this picture of Hill, this driven, optimistic, super strategic approach to success. But we can't ignore the other side of the coin here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about all those controversies that always seem to surround Hill's life and his claims about things?
Yeah, we can't just sweep that under the rug. It's important to remember that Hill's story, it's a bit messy. Filled with inspiration, yeah, but also some choices that, well, let's just say they raise some eyebrows.
Like that whole thing with the meeting with Andrew Carnegie. No evidence, right? That's a pretty big gap in the story, wouldn't you say?
It definitely raises questions, yeah. I mean, Hill presented that meeting as this, pivotal moment in his life, the thing that launched his whole philosophy. But there's nothing to back it up.
It makes you wonder if he, I don't know, maybe embellished things a little, to make his origin story more dramatic, more compelling.
Could be. And that's not the only time where Hill's claims don't quite add up when you look closer. He name-dropped a lot of big names like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, made it seem like they were close, buddies. But it's possible those relationships weren't as substantial as he implied.
So it's like he was building this, I don't know, a legend around himself, surrounding himself with this aura of greatness, influence.
Maybe. But those, let's call them embellishments, whether he meant to do it or not, they do cast a bit of a shadow over his work. And then there's the whole issue of those early business ventures, right?
Yeah, not exactly shining examples of ethical business practices, were they?
Not really, no. Accusations of fraud, legal troubles, that stuff followed him for years. The lumber company, that automobile college thing, all those advertising schemes, it's a pattern that's hard to ignore.
It's like his drive for success, it kind of took him down some questionable paths. A good reminder that even people who, preach success, they could be tempted by shortcuts and shady dealings. Happens to the best of us, right?
Absolutely, a valuable lesson for sure. And then there's Hill's personal life, which, it had its own share of controversy too. Multiple marriages, accusations of mistreatment. Seems like there was a bit of a disconnect between those principles he talked about and how he actually lived his life.
It's human, right? Even self-help gurus, they're not perfect. They have flaws, contradictions, just like the rest of us.
No doubt about it. But here's the thing. Even with all that, Hill's legacy, it's huge. I mean, Think and Grow Rich is still one of the best-selling self-help books. ever.
His ideas, they've influenced so many people, authors, speakers, coaches, and those core principles we talked about, they still resonate with tons of people today. It's weird, right, this contrast.
It is, yeah. How do you reconcile this guy, this inspiring teacher, with all the the messy parts of his life?
I think for me, it's about approaching his work with a critical eye, being aware of the controversies, questioning his claims. We can't just, swallow everything he said without thinking.
I agree,
Yeah.
100%. Got to be smart readers, smart listeners. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of good stuff in his core principles. They offer a way to think about personal growth, about developing that success mindset, and actually achieving your goals.
So it's about taking the best of what he had to offer, the stuff that stood the test of time, and, acknowledging that his life, it was complicated.
Exactly. We can learn from both his successes and, yeah, his failures too. His story reminds us that, success, it's rarely a straight shot to the top. There are going to be bumps along the way. And it's about learning from other people's experiences, the good and the bad.
Wow. This deep dive into Napoleon Hill's world, that was quite a ride, wasn't it? Inspiration, intrigue, and some really important reminders about, what success really means, how complex it can be.
It was, yeah. And it leaves us with some questions. What parts of Hill's principles really resonated with you? Which ones do you think you could use in your own life? And how do you square the power of his ideas with all the controversy that surrounds him?
Those are great questions to think about. I think Hill's story shows us that success isn't just about getting to some destination. It's about the whole journey, the ups, the downs, all of it. And it's about learning from other people, their wins, their losses. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.